We are back, you know.
Sir,
Got to welcome the audience back to the Wire to Wire podcast. It's your host, Yusuf and Jordan. And Jordan, how you doing, bro?
not too bad, man. It's another day, another week back on the show. It's good, when we have stuff to talk about, it's always fun. It's always
Yeah,
fun. Lot to talk about, lot to discuss.
definitely. Yeah, so, let's just get right to it. At this point, this episode should be part of a trilogy, I think, because, it just
Right?
it seems that there's some kind
Weekend.
of a correlation here. If you look yesterday, the Canadian, he got LA out of there,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Which
Kitchener. Shout out
yeah.
Kitchener.
Shout out
Yeah,
to Jamal Murray, the
the
Kitchener
man.
King.
The man out in Kitchener, not the boy, the man.
Yeah, the man he took the Lakers out, right?
We
And
needed that too, right? We needed that because we didn't have that, and LA won, and then this Kendrick West
I know.
Coast energy came in. Toronto be looking down bad right now.
So now we got another, Canadian versus Cali situation. You got Drake versus Kendrick, which is
Yeah,
starting to heat up because Kendrick just put out his response, Euphoria.
yeah.
So,
Over
to
like
kick
100. Don't even ask me how.
so to kick things off, you know, what were your thoughts on the diss track? And
Mhm.
what do you make of it now with these recent developments?
Yeah, I mean, like I was surprised. Like it came eventually, right? It's what 14 days was it?
About 17
Since
days.
17 days.
17, yeah.
So, you gave him 2 weeks and a bit, almost 3 weeks. It came, but again, like we were talking on pre-production, right? It was like Kendrick started it, right? It's like that. And Drake, he responded. He had to respond as he would. Came back to back with Taylor Made as well, with the freestyle. And then now Kendrick came with Euphoria. And Euphoria, like I said, like listening to it today, like, it delivered. It really did deliver. Like the sound, production, um, the lyrics, the lyrics as well. He was saying some things and like he was delivering it well. Like I didn't love it first listen because like, Kendrick, like it takes time when you have to get used to his voices and like the way he like switched up his cadence and his flows. So like that was hard. Like I felt like it dragged in the middle. But when it got to like the last verse, he was doing some things. So again, for me, like I said, round one's complete. If I had to give it an edge, I'd say uh, Kendrick's the last one to drop a track, so he's in the lead.
Okay.
So it's so interesting though. It's interesting though, because like it's been a good two-track uh round one. Both writers delivered. Both were saying things, but it was a lot of pushing and shoving. Like I said, a lot of pushing and shoving. Hold me back, hold me back.
I'm okay. I'm a little bit surprised that you would give Kendrick the lead. I
Okay,
thought the way the last two episodes went, I thought
that's
you would
crazy.
pick Drake.
Just because I was wearing OVO shit, that's crazy. Can't do that.
So that's what I thought you would immediately just go. I thought you'd pull an academics on me and just go straight Drake. Like,
It's crazy. Now
so I thought,
I gotta see both sides.
which is good. Objectivity is always good, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah, this was a surprise track. He just dropped it like in the morning.
Yeah,
And then,
824, no? I
yeah,
saw that tweet. Someone tweeted it's 824, I guess, reference to Kobe.
so he had his own like methodical approach to it.
He
So
did. So,
I gave it a first listen and it didn't really like fully resonate with me because
mhm.
and it's part of the reason why I never really got into his music like that. Just the stuff he does with his voices, like he gets very animated and he does certain things stylistically that kind of I'm just not into it, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't want to be biased and just immediately dismiss it. So I listened to it plenty of times, like
Hmm.
just putting it back on repeat, and then I'd go listen to other things and I'll go back and revisit it with a fresh set of ears. And as I listened to it more, he actually was saying some pretty vicious things. You know what I mean? Like he actually went at him pretty
Yeah, I mean,
hard.
a lyric breakdown is there's some things on there. If we were to break down some of the lyrics, that are like, what do you think he's saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like, for
It gets
me,
deep. It gets deep. Especially with you with your the clips and the painting nails and the accusations.
and you
The
see,
gonna wanna statements.
and I can't remember if it was the last episode we did or the original episode we did when this stuff first kicked off. And I
Mhm,
said to you, bro, that's why he shouldn't be painting his nails and publicizing it because it's an easy target.
mhm.
So I just instinctually knew that it's something that Kendrick would go for because it's the lowest hanging fruit, so to speak, but it's still very valid because, as a grown man in his late 30s, why are you doing that?
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, Kendrick said he's trying to, raise sons, morals, discipline, some other things, some
Yeah.
things that who knows? I mean, hey, I think Adonis is living a great life. He looks like taken care of.
Yeah.
Out in London town and back in the ends in the six, ball, music video and things. What? Adonis is up, so I can't say he doesn't do that. Doesn't take care of Adonis.
But I think it was just, again, like I think in the spirit of battle, you know, there's not really a set of rules that you have to follow. So he's gonna say anything to try to one up Drake and really get at him, right?
Hmm.
And one of the lines that I really like is, Tommy Hilfiger stood out, but FUBU never had been your collection.
Hmm.
So, I got that one almost right away because obviously FUBU is a black-owned business. So he's trying to say,
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
yeah.
So
So I'm like, so
that
obviously
is that
he's
was
trying
quick. That
to,
was quick math. Quick math
yeah.
there.
So he was trying to pull Drake's card, and it's something that he was kind of referencing a few times, like, how
Yeah.
many more features do you need to have until you feel black enough, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah, that's another gut punch.
if you
Body
listen,
head, body
um,
head. Daft Punk.
and when we did the last episode, I remember we were talking about going back and listening to Drake's catalog, and then in that song, "You and the Six," which I referenced,
Yes.
in it
And
he
shout
says
out to views. It was what?
it was
Anniversary? How long?
I think it was on "If You're Reading This It's Too Late," "You and the Six," and then he
Oh,
was
you in the
kind of
six?
saying
Yeah.
like, "Now
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm not black enough." So
Mm.
clearly, this is something that people know is a insecure soft spot for him, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought he really came at him from that angle.
And hey, man, look, you got to look at the numbers. How many black artists has Drake worked with? And he works with a lot of them, a lot of the hot ones too, that
Yeah.
are up and coming. You know what I mean? Yes, indeed, little baby. You know.
And
So
even if you look at different genres,
not
like
bad.
how many like drill artists has he worked with? How many like UK grime artists have he worked
Ah, a
with? How
lot,
many
exactly. Even down to the UK.
and
Yeah,
even
yeah.
dancehall. Like look at the like from dancehall too. Like he's worked
Popcorn
with
and things. Yeah.
yeah, so he's worked with a lot of them, right? So it's kind of like he likes to explore the different avenues and aspects to black culture. So I thought that was pretty well
Nothing wrong with that though. We have a great culture. You know what I mean? So it's not like, and he's black too. So like, come on. His dad's black. What are we doing?
but
It's
it's
just
like
biracial.
but these people know it's a soft spot for him. I think that's the thing. I think they know it's an aspect to him that they can sense. It's an insecurity. It's a feeling of inadequacy that he has. So, they're gonna keep leveraging it. It's like in a boxing match, if you know your opponent is a little bit, has a shaky chin,
Yeah,
or
yeah. You're gonna swing.
you're gonna swing, or if you know that they're susceptible to rib shots, you're gonna target the ribs, right? So I think
Yeah.
that's where they know his soft spot is, right? But
True.
I think when you get closer to the end, when he starts saying certain things where he's like, when it comes to raising your kids, you don't know nothing about that.
Mhm.
The delivery of which he said it, I thought it kind of hurt the point that he was trying to make, which kind of, in my perspective, it softened the blow. Like if he didn't have to, throw that accent or throw that kind of voice at it,
The,
it
the
just
voice,
would have came off
the
a
voice
lot
was a
more
lot.
vicious.
The voice delivered. He said Crody, Crody the cat. Pet Cemetery. Like that's crazy, man. He's doing some things, some things you won't even understand. Like Drake said, it gets deeper.
I like that. I like that you actually referenced that Toronto accent because, bro, that is the stupidest sounding accent. That Toronto accent is the
Hey,
worst, bro.
so I guess that's interesting because like it's almost like the way people view Toronto's accent, they view it like an idiotic. Like for real.
Which is not too far from the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, like, it's almost like we don't really talk like that, but it's almost like a character of Toronto.
But okay, have you personally come across dudes who speak that way and like just casually conversing
Jokingly,
with
like,
them?
yes, yes, but jokingly, you know what I mean? Like we'll do it as like almost like a gesture of like, what's up, whatever the case may be, to amp each other up, but it's never like our conversation. We don't talk like that in that nature. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I mean, but it is it's a slang almost. It's a Toronto culture thing that it's our slang here, just like Baltimore have twos and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Well, to me, I never really appreciated or had a fondness for it personally. And I just remember, bro, like when I went to that Raptors championship parade back in 2019, broski, I was hearing that everywhere. And I don't know if like because of, the hype of the moment, it
They
was
were
just
up,
on
bro.
it
Remember
was
that?
just on
I was talking about
overdrive.
Drake turned 6 to a 9 now. Come
Bro,
on.
it was too much,
Oh,
man. Like this is the most dumbest sounding. This to me is the dumbest sounding accent, bro. Like this is not something to
nah,
be
but
proud of.
what it really was though, it was the almost like I don't want to say it, but it was the women that kind of like
Hmm.
fabricated it as such. The chromas, you know what I mean? Like those are the ones that like made it like loud almost. Like before it was kind of in-house. But
Hmm.
now like people like, chromas and things like that and like getting a little buzz with six
Hmm.
buzz and shit like that. It got promoted, like World Star. Now it's like a World Star of Toronto. It's like shit like six buzz.
Yeah, it's true. Because people just speak that way just to kind of, just to do it. You know what
Yeah,
I
it's like stand up.
But I will say, and I remember I said this on another episode too. I said, because you had your conspiracy theory, you said that you thought that this was kind of something that the labels, came up with and cooked up
Hmm.
to drum up some interest in hip hop again, right?
Right.
And I said, depending on the level of, severity and viciousness that Kendrick replies back to Drake with,
Hmm.
I'll be able to tell whether or not, I buy into that theory.
Right.
And then after hearing this, I came to the conclusion that I think Future, Metro, and Ross, I think theirs was more calculated.
Hmm.
But I think Kendrick and Drake just generally don't like each other, bro.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
just
I
don't
mean,
like each other,
but
bro.
again, that's what I was trying to say. Like this was what we needed to get to the real beat. Everything else was just fabricated, like Ross. Like I said, like Ross. Like what are we doing here? You guys don't go fly out to Miami and do a track. Like, come on, stop this.
The dude filmed the music video and blew a kiss at the guy, bro. I'm like, what do we,
What are
like,
we doing here?
like,
Yeah, crazy.
so, but these two dudes just genuinely don't get along. They don't like each other. And I
Yeah.
just think they're way past the
I
point.
said it. I hate this. I hate
Yeah.
that. Hate the way you dress. Hate the way you do this. Hate the way you raise your son.
And it was very funny because he's basically saying, like, yo, you know what? Your music's not that bad when you're doing a certain style, but I don't
Yeah,
like you.
I like the melodies. The melodies
Yeah.
are cute.
But I don't like
I
tough
like the
Drake.
dancing sign with the
Yeah.
white.
But I just don't like you. I don't like anything about you. I don't like what you represent. I don't like how you move. And I'm like, okay, this is personal.
Hmm.
And you can kind of tell, right?
Yeah.
So if I had to compare this to like push-ups, with push-ups, it's kind of Drake taking on everyone, right?
Yeah.
So he's giving something to Metro, he's giving something to Future, he's giving something to Ross, he's doing Kendrick, he's coming at the weekend. So he's kind of like allocating certain bars to certain artists, right?
Right.
And then Taylor Made was just more so him trying to like, lure him out, troll him. But this track, I think he had a couple, like I think Cole caught some strays, but 95% of it was just straight Drake.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna give Drake a slight edge, right? I'll say that if this was a series, I would say I would say Drake has one upped him.
Hmm.
Only because I again like Kendrick's delivery, it's hard for me to look past that. And I think his delivery, although it was authentic to him, and
Yeah.
maybe it's something that his fans and people who listen to his music will appreciate. To me, it was something that that's why I never really fully got into his music to begin with.
Hmm.
And the fact that he was leaning on it so heavily on a diss track where I just wanted him to just, go straight Nas, like just go straight ether with it, but it still was a solid diss track. He said so he had some strong punches in there, but I'll give Drake the slight edge.
Okay. And again, so if I were to ask you, when do you think Drake's gonna drop?
Hmm. Because I think I gave a prediction what I said. I said it would take Kendrick I said in about a couple of weeks. I said I said by around end of the month, May, I think I said Kendrick would drop if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So if I had to make a prediction on Drake,
Yeah.
I would say he probably already cooked something up, but he's just gonna go back and I think tweak some things based on what Kendrick said on this track.
Possibly. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if end of this week, early next week, we hear back from Drake. My prediction.
Interesting. So how long like does this go then? You know, because like if you look back to beefs, like you'd get like two, three, four. I mean, again, if you look at Jay and Nas, like they always went at each other. You know what I mean? Even 50 goes at man's still to this day. But like, how long does like actual shots at each other back and forth goes?
I think it stops.
Especially it is good for the industry. You know what I mean? It's gonna like what push-ups went number two on the charts. That's a diss track. You know what I mean? Like if diss tracks have this much value and they garner this much attraction, why not just keep going diss for diss?
I think if they were to take that approach, I think eventually it'll start to go stale,
Right.
right? Because there's really only so much that these guys can say about each other, anyways, because there's only so much Drake has on Kendrick, and there's only so much Kendrick has on Drake, right?
Hmm.
It's not like these guys used to be like best friends who things went sour and now they have dirt on each other that they can air out each other's laundry, right? So I think we're getting like really at the end of the beef. So I would say we're probably gonna get a Drake track,
Hmm.
and then I think Kendrick will just leave it alone. I don't think he's gonna go back and respond because I just don't think it's gonna become tedious for both guys to have to go back and always try to respond to another person, right? And I think these guys are very they're larger than the industry, so to speak.
Yeah.
So they already have their fans. So whoever's with Kendrick is going to be with Kendrick regardless. Whoever's with Drake is going to be with Drake regardless. So there's
Hmm.
never going to be a conclusive who actually won.
Right.
It's just going to be like who likes who more. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I think once Drake does his reply, I think it just kind of ends there.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, because I don't think it depends. It depends, right? Because about what Drake says, right? But I don't know. Kendrick might just fade away, you know? Just like, fuck it, you know? How long can we really do this? We got a son to raise, right?
Which is what I see happening. Because if it's taken him, what, 17 days to respond to this one, he's not interested in like a long, a
I
long
mean,
back and forth drawn out beef.
or he just puts out an album, right? So gonna put out an album, use this whole momentum, put out an album. Again, marketing is marketing. At the end of the day, if you're dissing Drake back and forth, why wouldn't it be the best time for you to drop an album?
And he very well could ride that momentum because, they said that he has an album supposedly coming out in May. So
I
this would
mean,
be a
the
good,
rumor was an album that he was gonna put out, and then with diss tracks in it, right? So again, he just put out a track. Who knows? I'm pretty sure an album will come eventually with more
and
distance.
and then I think from here on out, you guys are just gonna take little subliminal like shots at each other.
Hmm.
But I don't think they'll ever really go head to head the way they're doing now. I think it goes here, and I think it's just gonna stop here.
Hmm.
Like I don't
Hmm. I
see
mean,
it.
hey man, Drake said he was gonna take some time away from music, and I think he should. You know what I mean? It's just in terms of like his health, raising his son, family time. It's always good. For the mental, you've been on the road, touring and shit, back to back. So it's just the game needs him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there's a talent disparity in the game right now.
Yeah.
So
Like what is the game without Drake right now? Honestly, this
it's
fizzles
true.
out. Then what? What music? Just music, maybe it drops. But what's that?
I mean, yeah, you still
With this we
gotta.
have with this we have what story? We have media coverage.
It's
What's the
true, but
problem? You know?
hey, you still have Sexy Red right now.
Yeah. Popping shits. She's popping. That's why Drake, man. Hey, man, we gotta give him his credit. He's always been known to be a chameleon, come around talent, and uplift them. It's temporary, but every time it works for a lot of artists.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what somewhat similarly sort of happened with Kendrick, right? Like, remember he put him on an interlude of Take Care, and
Right.
then suddenly, I think they did a little tour together, and suddenly things just kind of went left,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah. But and then poetic justice too, right?
oh yeah, they had that collab. Yeah, they had that. Yeah, and then they also did that song Problems on A with ASAP Rocky,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
ironically also who also had beef with Drake. So it's just
yeah. Very, very ironic for sure.
but it's
And
interesting. How is it that everyone that works with him or had some kind of relationship with him ends up turning on him? Like it's just
so what is it? So what is it? Is it him, or is it man thing to look himself in the mirror, do some self-reflecting?
it could be both, bro. It very well could be both. It could be yeah, there's a little sense of jealousy, but then it also could be maybe something that he does or stuff that he says
True,
that kind
true.
of that kind
I
of
don't know. I don't know.
gets people. Who knows?
I don't know. I've never been around Drake. I don't know Drake. I feel like he's a cool guy. You know what I mean?
I would say so too. Like I've met him on like a couple occasions, but it was
Uh-huh.
just kind of like on a high and by basis, just shake
Mhm.
hands high and by, but it was never like really us hanging out and kicking it or anything. But
Yeah.
he seems like a good guy down to earth,
Yeah.
but
I've been to his shows. Great performer. Great artist. So I don't know, but there's something that to the energy that they just feel where it's temporary. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
The relationship's temporary when they're working together, and then other than that, it's just well now it's beef, right? So
Yeah.
it'll
But I
be
mean,
interesting how this transpires through the summer. You know what I mean?
yeah, but I mean, needless to say, obviously, I always exclude the weekend from these conversations.
Mhm.
And because I think those guys, similar to him and Kendrick, I think they have a history where there's a respect, a mutual respect there, but there's just a dislike between one another. So
Mhm.
that one I can't really say that it's a matter of one person hating on the other. I just think it's just a genuine, like Kendrick, it's just a genuine dislike between them. So I can't put that hating label on the weekend or on Drake because they have their own separate situation going on.
Right. Yeah.
But I think I think what we can do is we can kind of transition the conversation, you
Hmm.
know, talk a little hoops,
For sure, for sure, for sure. Yeah. I mean,
So
again, we'll see what ends up with this whole thing. The summer is here, you know what I mean? Again, I say he drops Friday. Um,
okay. So this Friday.
yeah,
Okay.
Music Friday, he drops midnight, spooky hours, like 3 a.m. type drops. Might be a time track, who knows? You know? What are we gonna do? 3 a.m. 3 a.m. in LA?
Did he do one like that already?
He did at Calabasas,
He
4
did, yeah,
p.m.
4 p.m. in Calabasas, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you could do a 3 a.m. in Compton or something.
Spooky hours,
So
scary hours.
how do you see this? How do you see this playing out in your opinion?
Uh, I don't know, but I'm here for the music. You know what I mean? I really don't know. I just feel like, who knows? I'd ask someone like Vince McMahon. He might have an idea of how these type of scripts play out. But I just feel like albums will drop. Kendrick's gonna drop an album in the summer. Um, and then with the album, I don't know what Drake does. I feel like Drake's gonna drop tracks. Maybe he's on features and he's saying things. You know what I mean? It's always a moment if Drake's still featured on a big artist track. You know what I mean? And he can get his shots off there. But where? You know what I mean? He doesn't. The whole industry is against him. So who's he really gonna work with unless it's he's dropping shots on the P4 Deluxe or party. But yeah, I don't know. I think a Kendrick album comes out and then Drake might just slowly wither away. But if that means he lost the battle, I don't know. But I'm to tell.
Yeah. And I think in terms of like being able to measure like who won or who lost the battle,
Hmm.
I mean, I think and this is one of those unique situations where it's gonna have to go beyond the music, but it's gonna be based on the relationships because if this much people hold that level of resentment towards Drake, who who's really gonna work with him? You know what I mean? Like, because Future was a big collaborator of his,
Yeah,
up until recently.
yeah.
So if that, dynamic never gets reconciled, you
Hmm.
lost out on one collaborator there. Or you could say Future lost out on Drake. Either way, they're not working together anymore, right? And then Rick Ross, who is like a frequent collaborator of his, like that's gone, assuming they reconcile. Who knows,
Hmm.
right? So aside from 21 Savage, who's left that he's gonna really collaborate with? I mean, theoretically.
Yeah, I feel like that's why he worked with everyone, right? And then everyone turned his back on him. So who else are you gonna work with if it's not new artists and concrete concrete
Mhm.
boys? You know what I mean? Like he has his in-house artists, you know what I mean? I'm sure he's still around them, stuff I mean. Like but barely he was on tour, but he might get back to it, you know what I mean? Doing stuff for the camp. Again, community work.
Because I don't think Kendrick will have any issues finding collaborators to work with. You
No.
know what I mean?
He'll do
Like,
some other stuff. Might do some stuff with T Swift, you know?
yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But like I said, it's good to see hip hop, you know, have that competitive spirit again.
Hmm.
For quite some time, hip hop was going in kind of like a zesty direction. So it's good to just see,
Still
you
zesty.
know,
Still
but
zesty.
this is a good break from the norm, I would say. That is good to just see.
So what's Kendrick trying to say? Is Kendrick calling Drake a zesty?
I think he's saying it. Yeah, I think he's saying like
He
you've
just
been
wants to
moving
talk.
kind
He's supposed to talk and tell his people on the podcast.
I,
Touch
I
upon it.
mean, I'm not saying it,
Hmm.
but there were some concerns that I had about what he was doing. Do I
Yeah.
think Drake is zesty for the record? No, I don't think that.
You started some allegations.
I had to start some engagement. I just said a grown man should not be wearing painting their fingernails, and I stand by that. They shouldn't,
Mm,
right? So I didn't like him doing it. I said I didn't like him doing it, and I think, like Kendrick is saying it, like that's weird behavior,
mm,
right? And so yeah, he's poking little shots at the guy's identity, like I thought he would once he started publicizing that he's painting his fingernails.
hey man, it is what it is, on to bigger and better discussions. Let's talk about some nepotism.
which is which is for all intents and purposes most likely going to happen. But I mean, obviously, we'll see how it plays out, right?
Mhm.
But before we get into the nepotism aspect, right? I want us to kind of discuss that series between Denver and the Lakers, right? So, what did you
Denver,
think? What did you think of the game overall, and what did you think? What did you make of the series?
uh, the final game.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can discuss that final game. I thought there was a lot to unpack there.
I mean, hey, what we saw the whole series was Lakers come out strong, right? Usually they won probably like majority of the first half, or probably all the first halves in every game. But they went up big and they lost leads, right?
Mhm.
And that's what happened in each and every game. And shout out that man from Kitchener, Jamal Murray, in the fourth, like his ability to close out games, like two game winning uh buckets, you know what I mean, when the time expiring. So that's big. He's out here dunking and flexing on LeBron like that, like in this last game, like it's crazy. So shout out to them, Denver Nuggets. They're a team that's good at defending the championship, but there's some concerns over there in LA for sure. And Darvin Ham's out of here for sure. He's gone. But hey, I mean, LeBron. He's how many coaches that he got fired in his career? This year.
This is his eighth
Count
coach.
those stats.
This is his eighth coach,
hmm Interesting. It's never him though. It's never him.
which is my issue, right? So even though the Nuggets won the series in 5 games, it easily could have been the Lakers winning, honestly, in 4 or even 5 games, right? Because game one, they were up big. They just didn't close the game.
hmm
Game two, we did an episode on that. They didn't close the game, right?
Yeah.
Game three, same story.
Yeah.
So this has been a pattern for 2 years in a row where you can get leads on this team, but you
hmm
just don't know how to put them away.
Right.
So even though Nuggets won, it could have easily been the other way around where the Lakers could have been victorious.
Yeah.
So it's not a coaching problem, and it's unfortunate because I actually like Darvin Ham, and I think if given a fair opportunity,
You didn't see that video of him trying to draw up plays. You didn't even get halfway through it. You
but
thought he had 5 minutes to put a draw play.
but I think different coaches have different strengths, right? I
hmm
think some coaches are like X's and O's, like I'm gonna draw plays and we're gonna go
Yeah,
out
and
there
that's
and
not
make it
Darvin
happen.
Ham, but he tried it. He tried it.
But
Definitely tried.
there's some coaches that you can just tell like they're a man's man, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna
Yeah.
be that like
Locker room
yeah,
coach.
they're gonna bring the guys together that you can come talk to them, you can speak to them in confidence.
hmm
They'll boost you up, they'll uplift you when you're feeling down, and like they can resonate and connect with you on a level and give you the confidence and put that trust in you that you can go out there and you can deliver, right?
hmm
I think for him, his biggest principle is really just, you know, toughness, defense, and tenacity. I think those are his principles that he really
Yeah.
tries to instill in his guys, right?
hmm
But he didn't get the memo, unfortunately, that when you're a coach of a LeBron team, you're not there to coach, you're there to be a figurehead. So you're just there to let him do whatever he wants to do, and you just give him the green light, a thumbs up and nod yes,
Yeah,
right?
and hopefully he can get the job done. Yeah.
Yeah. And then be prepared that if he doesn't get the job done, that you're going to take all the blame and you have to be okay with it. So the guy's in a lose-lose situation, but I do think that he's a decent coach, to be honest with you. And I think if given the right opportunity and he had the right personnel,
Mhm.
I think he could honestly, would the Lakers win a championship? I mean, probably not, but could he get them to at least become a second round conference finals team? Yeah, possibly he could. I mean, he did it last year. So was he a bad coach last year? Was he a bad coach when they won their in-season tournament? So when did the narrative become that, oh, he's a terrible coach? It's when LeBron is when LeBron's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. Then everything falls onto Darvin Ham. And sometimes it's Darvin Ham's fault, sometimes it's D'Lo's fault. And I told you, bro, they were gonna blame Spencer Dinwiddie. What did they do? They blamed Spencer Dinwiddie in game
Mhm.
five. So they're always gonna reach for something to blame.
Yeah.
Was he a bad coach when they had a 20-point lead?
All right.
Was he a bad coach when they're up 14? Like he
I
did
mean,
all the right things.
it's interesting because if we see what LeBron does with coaches, what do you think he's gonna do to Bronny? Just send him to the G League, and then he's to be on ESPN with Austin.
But he's not even gonna see the G League. That's the crazy thing. Like like you mentioned like earlier, nepotism. He's gonna get free ride to the NBA. He's gonna get drafted over guys that actually deserve it,
Mm.
right? And he's gonna get opportunities all because of his last name.
Ah,
Now,
Bron said he's nice, man. Bron said he's nice. Bron said
of course he said
he could play in the NBA
LeBron.
better than half these boys in the NBA right now.
I mean, he also said that he's the GOAT, right? And look what happened to him. So
Now we know who the GOAT is, man. He's hiding a child.
it's undisputed at this point, bro. Like the amount, and I think the Jordan approach is the best approach. He doesn't speak, bro. He lets his resume and he lets everything he did speak for him. Like the guy does not care. The guy is watching, I think he owns like a car racing team.
Yeah,
He's just chilling watching them race, bro. He does not care.
yeah, yeah.
What this guy is just, he wants that validation and he wants that attention so much, but it's like the more he pushes for it, the more he's making it harder for him to ever obtain. Like no one seriously looks at this guy as the greatest player of all time. Like there's just too many failures, too many blunders on his resume to theoretically say like this is the greatest we've ever seen.
Hmm.
And that series, like, Jamal Murray, shout out to him. Like all those years that LeBron was destroying the Raptors, now this is, the what is it? The chickens coming home to roost. Like this is
Hmm.
now him
Hmm.
getting his
Yeah,
karma. Now a kid from Toronto is tormenting him in the Western
yeah,
Conference.
exactly. Exactly.
So
Yeah. Shout out them boys from Canada, man. So it'll be interesting. The Olympics as well, hopefully them boys can ball out. But yeah, Shea and Murray, they're definitely the future. But
definitely.
it'll be interesting to see how the rest of this playoff plays out, Now we spoke about, Jordan, and he seems to be have hidden child from society as we see him live on TV. Uh, Anthony Edwards, you see the side by side they're doing with Jordan, you know what I mean? Even the game and they're doing side by side with his face. Like what? Like and he's balling, he's out here dunking. Katie, Beal, you know what I mean? Beal said, never in his life.
Yeah, first time for everything, bro.
Yeah, yeah. He made certain.
That.
He was damned. Damned indeed.
But Anthony Edwards, I'm thoroughly impressed by him. Like I'm sold, right? If it was a stock, I would I would put all my money into that stock. Like he was that,
Bottom shoes, man. You gotta wear them with them denim jeans, some boot cuts.
bro. I just might, because I
Some
even
cool.
just even looking at his character, right? Like he's someone
Mhm.
who's just really competitive and he just wants to win, right? But he has a certain level of intelligence to him. And I seen when he was at the press conference with Carl Anthony Towns,
Yeah.
and he was saying like, "This guy's our best offensive player. We need him to do this. Like,
Hmm.
just stop fouling." He had no problem giving this guy praise, giving him credit, giving him giving him his credit where it's due.
Hmm.
And the fact that he's 22 years old doing that, that shows that there's a certain level of maturity that he has. And there's just
Hmm.
a certain element to character that you can't, it has to come organically, bro.
Yeah.
Like if you look at a star like Jordan, guys like Jordan, they come like once in a generation. Like he
Yeah.
was just organic for that era. And players that have come after, like Iverson, that was organic. Guys like Kobe organically became a star, right? So I think Anthony Edwards is in that mold where we don't need the media to tell us he's great. We could just watch with our own eyes and see that there's something there. And I think he has what it takes, to be honest, possibly even win a championship this year, if we're being real.
So let me know. Denver, Minnesota. It's a series that's coming up, right? Who do you got in that series? Because really and truly, like I look at Denver, I see what to do to the Lakers. I understand it's a different matchup with the T Wolves. Like Jaden Daniels, can he do it again? I don't know. He was balling. McDaniels, right? So, but again, I just feel like Joker is the best player in the NBA for sure, and he's gonna be hard to stop. Like Rudy will try his best, but Rudy might get into foul trouble. Cat will have the ball. Like he played well against the Suns, but can he do it against Denver? But I don't know. At Denver, like the thing is, if Michael Porter Jr. is gonna score 20 points a game, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like then that's too much scoring because Joker is gonna have 25, 15, and then Murray's gonna close, and then everyone else is gonna contribute, and they're gonna play defense or enough defense where they can outscore you. So like Ant will have to do some crazy things to win that series. Is it possible? I mean, he might be the chosen one, but that'll be exciting. It's gonna be an exciting series. I'm excited for that series for sure.
Yeah, so am I. Like when I was watching the Nuggets and Lakers, I saw little I saw little cracks in the Nuggets armor,
Mm,
right? Like you could see that Jamal Murray was like visibly hurt,
mm, sure.
right? So I could saw that there was like a little limp, like he was limping at certain times. You
Yeah,
could
I think
see the
if they
fatigue.
put McDaniels on him, like he might strap him up.
Yeah, and then I think even too, KCP, who's a
Mm,
great contributor for that team, he hurt it. He sprained his
I
ankle,
had to. Yeah.
right? And then I could just see that Jokic, he's an incredible player, great talent, right?
Hmm.
I could see that he was at certain moments of the game, he was a little bit gassed. Like he was tired. Like the way they're
Yeah,
throwing the defenses
yeah,
at him.
it's true, but Jokic surprises me. Like he'll push the ball. Like he'll always get the ball and try to push it up the floor. It's like that. This guy's moving on the court. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, he definitely gets tired, and you see him more in the defensive end for sure. But when he's on offense, he pushes that thing and he's aggressive. So like,
I agree. I think the only thing that I think why this series might give him problems is because the Wolves don't look to Gobert for offense. Like he's there for defense.
mhm,
So his job is just to make it as because you're not going to stop a guy like Jokic, right? He's too skilled, he's too strong,
yeah,
but you could at least make life annoying for him,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So if he could wear him down, make it as challenging as possible for him to do what he normally does.
mhm,
And that's all Gobert has to focus his attention on. And then on the offensive end, Cat can do what he does.
mhm,
Anthony Edwards can do what he does, right? You have Michael Conley there as their point guard, who is a veteran point guard,
yeah,
right? Like I remember this guy when he was the point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies. Like these guys were upsetting the Spurs. You know what I mean? So he has that experience. And this is going to be a very challenging series for Denver, especially Denver's not really the same team they were last year, plus the fact that they're kind of hobbled.
Hmm.
But at the same time, that experience is on their side. So my instincts, my instincts is telling me that it's going to be Wolves. I'm going to say Wolves in seven,
Okay.
right?
7 games. That's not a bad bet. Like,
Yeah. I'm going to say Wolves in
not a
seven,
bad bet for sure.
but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong. Like if
Mm.
I'm wrong, I'm not I'm not mad if I'm wrong because
But
again, Denver has this.
I expect at least 6 games. At least 6 games. You know what I
Who do you
mean?
have winning?
Honestly, I have to say Denver. I don't think it's Minnesota's time yet. You know what I mean? This is beating the Suns. They're a mess, clearly. You know what I mean? I don't hold much weight to that. That roster stunk,
Mhm.
really and truly. So Denver now, like I feel like Denver is an actual like top contender team. They won a championship. You know what I mean? That's a tall task. You know what I mean? A championship team, like that's not like old or anything. Like this is the second year. You know what I mean? Or third, it's like their third, fourth year in their run. You know what I mean? They
Mhm.
just got their championship. Like, that happens. That championship DNA is real. I mean, I'm not saying that the Warriors, but usually champions, like, when they're on their run, they're on their run. So I gotta give the edge to Denver, really and truly.
Which I'm not really mad at. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised or even be upset if I was wrong because
Mhm.
they do have, like I said, they have that experience,
Yeah.
right? They have the best player in the league right now. I have to tilt my hat to him.
Hmm.
And they have a proven clutch closer in Jamal Murray. You know what I mean? But just the fact that he wasn't, fully 100%, I saw him like really had to fight his way through that game five. And then it's going to be a quick turnaround now to start the series against Minnesota.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying they just don't look like the complete team that they were last year. Because
Yeah.
that game with the Lakers, like it was very entertaining, exciting to watch,
Yeah.
but it was a game that really shouldn't have been back and forth.
Yeah. I think I like Minnesota game one for sure.
Yeah, I
And
think they'll
Denver,
come out, surprise them. They'll have fresh legs, kind of come out and surprise them a little bit.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
but
possibly see that. But
yeah,
I'm excited either way. Um OKC, Shea, another Canadian, made quick work of the Pelicans as well. So it'll be interesting to see who they play, Dallas or the Clippers.
yeah, that's a good series. Like I actually really enjoyed that series,
Yeah,
and like I said, I in the last episode, I hate that it had to happen so early in the playoffs.
yeah, yeah. It'll be
But
perfect for them too.
yeah, but I will say this though, right? Because I've said previously that I always thought the media was overrating Luka Doncic,
Mm,
but I have to give credit where it's due. I really respect what he said post game at the end of game four when he
yeah,
said, I'm not doing enough to help Kyrie Irving. Like
yeah,
to me, it takes a real man to go there on the podium and he has all the reason in the world to make excuses because the media loves him. The media makes excuses for him anyways, right?
hmm,
Or they would be at least willing to make excuses for him. But he took it upon himself to say, I need to step up and I need to do better.
yeah,
So to me, as a man, I have to respect that character in a person that you're going to take accountability. And I think that guy, number 23 on the Lakers, I think should take notice.
yeah. That's
Like,
crazy.
like you're damn near 40 and you can't even take that accountability. And this guy who's at least over 10 years younger than you can do that. Like, take
Yeah,
notes, bro.
yeah. Hey man, different strokes, different folks.
And I will say, bro, like, I just want to throw this in there because I don't want to forget this. But this guy went to someone in the audience, right? He went to that girl in the stands
That shit was hilarious.
I tried to punk her, like, bro, what are we doing? Like,
He smiled after, man. It was a kind gesture.
but like, that's not corny to you, bro. Like, you're going to like the fact that
A
you,
lot of stressing. You're stressing game 5, and that's what you're doing.
bro,
Going to
like you're whining. Like he actually was whining and complaining, and then the girl does like a little crybaby
Mhm.
gesture,
Yeah.
and then he wants to try to make her flinch, and then he's joking about, oh, I made a woman flinch. Like, bro, you picked on a woman.
And he's famous that for that meme though, back in his Miami days. So he's always been the crybaby.
And it's like, bro, and people are like encouraging him, ah, you're so funny. Like, bro, he punked a woman. Like, let's stop this, bro. Like, come on, like what is this, bro? Like,
Yeah,
we're punking women in this in the stands. That's what we're doing now.
gotta clip that one up. Clip that video
Yeah.
up. Oh man.
Yeah, but no, it'll definitely be this has been a good playoff so far overall. It's been fun to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So I mean that's that in the West, and then the East. I mean, East is kind of boring, really, truly. We have all these injuries with the Bucks. Um, Celtics, Porzingis just got hurt. You know what I mean? And the only
Yeah.
good series is the Knicks, the Sixers. Sixers won. So what is that?
Yeah.
2-2
That's
now?
that's 3-2, so
3-2.
it's going to a game six.
Game 6. Yeah, back
Yeah.
in Philly. Yeah, I feel like going 7. That's giving 7 energy for sure.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, the East has kind of been quiet. Like it sucks. I hate what happened with Lillard and Giannis, obviously.
Hmm.
And they're saying Giannis has a calf strain. I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah,
bordering on Achilles,
yeah.
right? So, I mean, still compete and try to fight hard, but if they lose, I don't really hold that against them because they're
And Giannis doesn't come back, right? You don't think
pardon?
Giannis will come back? Giannis?
No,
Giannis will come back.
do you think he will?
Nah, probably not. Unless maybe they push it to 7, but they have to win today, right?
Yeah, but even then, I wouldn't bring him back because you don't want like a situation like what happened with KD.
KD, yeah.
I would say just let him and Lillard like let the team fight,
Hmm.
and then whatever happens, happens. You lose in the first round, hey, that's more recovery time to regroup, come back next season. You know what I mean?
It's true. It's the first year with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
so
finish second. Yeah.
so give them time to regroup. The Knicks and Sixers series, I mean, I will see how that one goes.
Hmm.
Again, like, and I kind of mentioned this. Remember, I thought I said that I thought Joel Embiid had Bell's palsy the way his eyes were
Yeah,
blinking.
yeah, yeah.
So
You're
so
right.
that so that
You're
was confirmed he had it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yusuf in the magical ball. Yes, yes. With these predictions.
so again, even if the Sixers do beat the Knicks, the guy's playing on like one knee. How
Mhm.
far do you really expect to go? Right? Like, so it probably would be in the Sixers' best interest, to be honest, if they lost the series and then he can use the offseason to recover or maybe trade him, do a rebuild, but figure out what the next steps will look like.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And then in terms of like Cavaliers and Magic, those are just young teams that are on the come up.
Those are filler episodes.
But you see, I don't want to marginalize because they could one day become
Who?
like
Toronto?
they could one day become great stories. You know what I mean? Like, they could one day become great players. Like
Orlando? Yeah.
we could be
All they
watching the
need is
beginning.
KD. And
Pardon?
one team is just a KD away. One KD away.
Bro, sometimes there's those teams that would like surprise you, right? Because I mean, the Nuggets were once upon a time that young upstart team,
Hmm.
and then now look at them, right?
Yeah.
So I mean Orlando, I think I could see them being a team that's coming, to be honest. Like not as dominant as like Minnesota right
Yeah.
now, but they could be that next Minnesota type team built organically through drafting.
Hmm.
Never know.
Yeah. I mean, one last thing I want to, I guess, kind of wrap up on, but like, what do you think
Hello?
KD does? Well, I mean, there's no way to do something. Be a prediction for KD.
Sorry, your thing froze there. What do I think that KD does?
No, what do you think KD will do?
What do I think KD will do?
Yeah, in terms of he's always gonna figure out his way out of something. He figured out his way out of OKC, got to the Warriors, Brooklyn, and now going into Phoenix when he's in a predicament. I mean, I know he's under contract, but I feel like he'll find a way to get traded. Maybe.
So I heard speculation,
Hmm.
right, that he was perhaps like the Lakers were exploring perhaps maybe trading for him.
Hmm.
I think that's more so like planted stories. What I think might potentially happen is he would make a return back to OKC.
Yeah, yeah, that's my prediction too. And I feel like, I mean, it makes sense.
Because
But
I Yeah, because I don't see OKC coming out of the West this year. But I think
so
what
what
they should, pardon?
so what do you think OKC is gonna do? Trade all their picks
I mean,
back? Because Suns don't have any. Trade all the first rounders.
their GM is he's a very crafty guy.
Hmm.
So he's very crafty, he's very smooth, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll figure out a way, even if they have to if they have to make it a three-team trade. I'm sure they'll try to find a way to figure it out. But I could see, Kevin Durant ending up back in OKC. I think for two reasons. Number one, they have a young nucleus that they just need a veteran that can get them over that hump. And then number two, I think it's been a PR disaster for him ever since he left Golden State. That you've never won anything or accomplished anything since you left there. And even you leaving OKC to Golden State
Yeah.
made him look bad in and of itself.
And then coming off of two back-to-back Finals MVPs,
Yeah.
that to do what?
So it's like I think this will kind of be like a redemption arc for him as he approaches the end of his career.
Hmm.
So I think that's just my prediction. I think the Lakers thing is all just distraction and misdirection. I think OKC is where you'll end up.
Yeah, or possibly all these old guys have to get together and team up like their Team USA. KD, Bron, Steph.
I don't think the competitor and stuff, I don't think he would want that, to be honest.
They're all gonna flock to the Warriors. Steph's just gonna
Nah.
be there, like, okay, sure.
I mean, I'm sure LeBron and Katie would love going there,
Hmm.
but I just think a part of stuff would be like, no, I'm good. Because
KD definitely just can't go back.
no,
Like,
he can't.
yeah,
And I think the amount of drama and media scrutiny and everything that would come with LeBron being in the Warriors locker room, they're like, no.
after the Cavs, like, come on,
They're like, yeah.
that was
So,
nuts. Yeah,
I mean, let them go to Team USA and let them have fun there,
yeah.
but
Negotiate deals. Yeah,
yeah, but
network.
leave, leave it in the Olympics, bro. Don't try this at home.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So just to summarize today's episode, you have Kendrick beating Drake.
Hmm.
You got Denver beating the Timberwolves.
Yes.
And then the other series, who really matters at this point? Clippers and Mavs, who you got?
I don't know. That's a toss up. That's really a
Yeah.
toss up. Like,
I
I'm gonna
abstain,
go
bro.
with the Clippers.
The Clippers?
I'm gonna go with the Clippers.
I abstain. I abstain from picking, bro, because I don't want to see Clippers go out.
Yeah.
Like, because obviously that roster, they put a lot of money into, building up that roster. And I don't want to see them say, okay, now we have to blow it up.
Hmm.
Right? I want to see Westbrook at least be in a position to compete for his first championship, right? I think I'm gonna say Clippers. Like based on my heart.
Yeah. But the league probably wants Luca,
Oh, 100%.
right? So if I take that into account, like, it's kind of tough. But
My mind says Mavericks, but my heart, because I really do respect Westbrook as a player, as a competitor.
mhm.
and I want to see him at least be in a position to compete for a championship. So
Yeah.
heart says Clippers, but my mind says Mavericks.
Okay.
And the
Sounds good.
audience can do with that information as they will.
And we'll see. We'll find out on another episode for sure.
Yeah, but Jordan, it's been another great conversation having you on,
Hmm.
and we'll definitely be running this back. You know, these are the
Yeah. Part
wire
five.
to wire playoff specials, man.
Locked in.
Yeah, definitely. Take care, bro. Until next time.
Until next time.